Hey everybody, welcome to a new stream that we're doing. It's Wes and Hop Chatbox featuring special guest 40Hands, um, where we just go through and talk about things that we want to talk about while we get the excellent gameplay of 40 Hands on whatever game he's playing at the moment. What's going on, Wes?
Nothing much, nothing much. Memorial Day weekend. The sun is shining as of right now. So
That's always a good thing. And welcoming, like I said, our special guest, 40 Hands. What's up, man?
Howdy. How's it going?
All right, that's cool. All right. Thought you were going to come.
it's so stupid.
All right, so.
I haven't been up to much, just working.
All right, good, man. But everything's good, right? So, all right, so let's get this started. So I see that we're playing. What is this?
We're playing Detroit today.
Mm.
Yeah, this is a pretty wild game. I don't know what to think of it just quite yet. I've been played about maybe 6 hours or so between yesterday and today. It's really weird. It's a David Cage game. If anybody's familiar with Indigo Prophecy or Heavy Rain, it plays very, very similar to those. The only difference is there's some big name actors in this game, and I was surprised that they would be attached to it, considering the subject matter. Mainly, I don't remember the actor's name, but if you've ever seen Highlander, he's the guy that plays the Kurgan, who's also the voice of Mr. Krabs and Lex Luthor from the cool Superman show back in the 90s. But yeah, so I've been playing this, and the story's really weird. It takes place not too far future. I want to say like maybe 20, 30 something or whatever. And the thing is that like everyone has androids. So far, the story kind of reminds me. You ever see iRobot, the shitty Will Smith movie?
I wouldn't say it was shitty, but yeah,
I like that.
It wasn't shitty.
I like that movie.
But they shouldn't have called it iRobot.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't follow the booklet. Well, not the novelette that it was based off of.
Right.
But yeah, I get it.
So it was shitty in the fact that it didn't follow it, but it was, it's totally watchable. I give a lot of movies a bad time, but it reminds me a lot of that. Pretty much androids are an appliance that a lot of people have. The problem being that androids do human physical labor better than humans. So a lot of people are just unemployed, but they still have these robots for whatever reason, either to help take care of their kids or they're getting older and they just need some help. The problem being there is that there's an issue with what's called deviancy. The androids deviate from their original intended code, and weird stuff happens. And that's anywhere from just them acting weird to just straight up murder. Wow. So there's a couple different story threads going on here, and all of which you actually play an android. So there's one where you're playing like an android cop. There's another one where you're playing an android butler, if you will, from a very well-to-do family. And then there's another one where you're playing as an android who lives in a house with a dude who's like a drug addict and an abusive father.
Oh,
and then as the story so as the story has gone on so far, it kind of jumps between those three androids and how their stories intersect. So I'm just going to go ahead and fire it up here. I'm actually not going to start it from the beginning. I'm just going to pick up from where I left off last. And so at last I played, I was actually playing as the cop android, and he's a prototype. So his whole deal is he was built to find deviants. But I'm starting to suspect that he may be a deviant himself.
It doesn't always turn out that way.
Yeah. But he's not like, I don't want to give the impression that deviancy is a bad thing, because it's not always. A lot of the times from what I've seen so far, it usually ends up working out for the better. So here's actually this is the android that was a butler, and earlier in his story, the guy he was taking care of was elderly. His son was a drug addict and showed up one day and trashed the house. The guy was well off, and the guy died, but the drug addict son blamed the android, of course, and cops kind of destroyed him.
So,
see, there's a lot of other
Jesse
weird
Williams.
stuff going on too, because you'll see androids get destroyed, but because they're like just a model of android, you'll see them pop up again. And so it's always kind of weird. They have no idea between one another. But there's multiple copies of like every android that you see out there.
Right. Yeah, I was a really big fan of Indigo Prophecy back in the day, and if I remember correctly, there was a game before that Indigo Prophecy was kind of the spiritual successor to. I can't remember the name of it at this point. I'll have to look it up. But since we're starting from where you left off, you streamed this yesterday, didn't you? And you have a copy on your YouTube channel. Tell us what your YouTube channel is.
Sure. So that's YouTube user Mr. Wright, spelled all the way out, MisterWright. And so if you're interested, I don't do a lot of talking over my videos. I normally will just stream story-driven games for the most part, just straight to the channel from my PS3. I do chat with people sometimes through the chat feature on YouTube, but I don't ever talk on it on my streams there. And that's just so that I can make sure that the audio quality from the games is decent enough for people to actually follow along with what's happening there.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely get that, man. I struggled to get our audio quality to a point where it was passable. Like I'm still messing around with things. Doesn't always sound the best for us. And matter of fact, people may hear some ticking on through this audio, but it's stuff that I'm still working on.
Are you Lucy?
So you said, let's see, you said some big names are in here. I'm looking I'm seeing Jesse Williams, of course, right there. So the Mr. Crowd, you was like the parts that you use for Clancy Brown were it was kind of weird. It always, whenever someone tries to, I find that whenever someone tries to explain an actor, it shows what type of movies they like, right? Because if I was to explain, oh yeah, like man, Clancy Brown is in there. Like, what movies did he do? Well, he was in Starship Troopers.
Yes.
So I'm like, man, and Shawshank Redemption. You went with Highlander and SpongeBob.
Yeah, and Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
From the old school DC AU.
Right. Yeah. Like you went with two animated and a cult favorite. Yeah. So, but nah, I feel you, man. I'm also looking. Let's see. I hope it's not too spoilery, but people can look online to see who plays who in the game. But Lance Henriksen is in this game.
I haven't encountered him yet, but that's awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope I'm not spoiling anything.
I wonder if no, not at all. I think it'd be funny if he just shows up as Bishop, like just straight up.
Yeah, basically.
Like Yutani's a thing in this universe. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, I think so,
wow.
man. Let's see. Is there anyone else that we may know?
Possibly. Like it's a lot of, for me at least, it's a lot of, hey, I recognize that person, but I don't know their name. Like, for example, when we were just talking about Clancy Brown, I couldn't remember his name, even though I've seen him in a million things over the years.
Yeah, he's that guy. Like, there's always that guy in movies. Like, oh, him. And never remember their name. Minka Kelly's in this game. I don't think a lot of people won't know who that is unless you see her. She was in Jane the Virgin, a couple episodes of Jane the Virgin. Almost Human. Do you remember that TV show? I don't know, I think it's still on, but
Almost Human.
yeah,
Almost Human? No.
yeah, it's not on anymore. It was with Carl Urban and Michael Ealy. Michael Ealy was a
Yes, I do remember.
Okay.
I do remember.
yeah, she was.
They
in
got
that.
canceled.
Yeah, it did. I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, she was a detective in that. She was Gabby on Parenthood. Some people would know that. Shoot, she was in Friday Night Lights. I never really watched that, but yeah,
Who
TV
was
show or
Gabby?
the movie?
the TV show.
Okay.
Who
A
was
lot of
Gabby?
people
The
forget
little.
that was a movie.
I'm sorry, Gabby
Yeah, who was Gabby?
on Parenthood.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never watched the show.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah.
No, I was just saying Gabby for people that may have watched it. Some people may know it. Like you
No, I
watched
watched
Parenthood?
it. I watched it. Yeah, I watched it. That's why I'm like, who was that? Was that the little girl? Because I think, or the what's her name? Reagan Gomez.
No, I don't.
Reagan Gomez.
Parenthood.
What Parenthood are you thinking of?
What Parenthood are you talking about?
You talking
I know
about
what
the
Wes is talking about.
you talking
He's
about
talking about the old school Robert Townsend
Robert
show.
Townsend, yeah.
Yeah,
Nah,
that's my reference.
right, yeah, I know.
That's what I thought you was talking about. I'm like,
No,
Someone's
So there's
still not
another
explaining it to me. Right.
So there's another Parenthood show. I'm familiar with that one, Wes. That's what I thought you guys were talking about, and I'm like, oh, okay. I don't remember any of these people from that show.
Neither do I. So Hop, I already Googled it, but
hold on real quick. After I think what I've been doing, I messed some stuff up. Hold on real quick.
So another guy that's in this game that I noticed, I don't remember the guy's name. Have you seen season 1 and 2 of Daredevil?
I've seen a couple of episodes of season 1.
So the guy that plays Stick is the elderly guy I was referring to earlier that took care of Jesse Williams' android. So basically, Jesse Williams' android character belonged to that guy.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking
Okay.
about.
Yeah.
They threw him out when they didn't want him anymore.
I forgot that when you go through SharePlay, you don't get audio. Hold on.
To help them, we need blue blood and bio.
Well, no, I can't say that. It's not.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Yeah.
It's like some music doesn't play for me when I go through SharePlay. And for some reason, I'm not getting any
We're slowly dying out.
gameplay audio. Hold on. Oh yeah, I am. I'm stupid. It just wasn't flickering.
You didn't turn up the mixer.
Nah, you hush up. Don't talk
Oh, I
about
got
something.
hush up. Oh, I got hush up. I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
Man, yeah, no, yeah, I don't know how loud it's gonna sound. I had it at our what we use for like Fortnite, and I just don't know
Okay.
how loud this game is. Hopefully, turn it back down a little bit.
Program isn't working.
Hopefully it does work out. But yeah, sorry about that.
So you're so mean, man. God damn.
I am mean. People always say that, and I gotta do better. Sorry about that.
I think they wanted to have fun.
Man, what was I gonna say?
I want to shut down.
So,
You just want to explain Parenthood to us?
oh,
The not the cult classic that me and 40 remembers, but you know, the one that you seem to
well,
watch.
one, first of all, I already said that I never watched it. Two,
I know. That's why
I wouldn't have
said it.
called. I would never have called the original Parenthood a cult classic. I mean, I
Why
think
not?
it is a classic among
a community.
yes.
Yeah.
You say that, but I mean, there's a lot of other, like, don't get me wrong, that show was pretty good from what I remember of it. But there's a lot of other Robert Townsend stuff I would rather be watching instead of Parenthood.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like 5 RBs.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Or Hollywood Shuffle.
Yeah.
Another good one.
Meteor Man.
Yeah, of course.
Jericho seemed as good a place as any.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, I'm sorry, but the Parenthood I'm talking about is the one with. Let's see who's in this. Peter Krause from. What the hell is that? I think it was HBO show 6 Feet Under.
That's how the humans treat those who disagree.
He was on Sports Night. But either way, oh shit.
Accept what we are.
Lauren Graham
We came to the wrong place.
from Gilmore Girls. Dax Shepard.
I know what that is.
Damn, what else was in this?
Unfortunately.
Craig T. Nelson was in the show.
Whoa. Back up. Telling me Coach was involved?
Right. Like, hold on, Coach. Yeah, man.
Now you're telling me some good stuff, man.
It was it was a drama. Like it was the drama version of what's the daggone show with Ed O'Neill in it, Modern Family.
Modern Family?
Yeah, like it was the drama version of that, basically.
I like Modern Family from time to time too.
Yeah,
I would never catch it to be like, you know, watching it in prime time. But if a rerun is on, I sit down and probably watch it. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's one of those things that perpetuates some bad stereotypes, but it's an okay show.
You can't just walk in there and take
I was
Bad
watching.
stereotypes.
Yeah, and like with the Ed O'Neill's wife,
even if we did, none of us knows how to
like just that she couldn't, she can't pronounce stuff, and just
That's how she talked though.
no, not
literally
in
how she
like
talk.
in real life. She does have an accent, right? But she doesn't go around mispronouncing words to the extent that she does. It's a over characterized, and it's just it uses some really tropes that should not that at this time we should be able to do comedy without.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't think she would be the type of person to do something like that and actually feel that way. She probably doesn't even. She probably doesn't think nothing of it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
at
that
all.
she
I
does.
never even thought anything of it. She's playing a character. I don't think it's
Right.
comedy. I don't see that. I don't see comedy in that personally.
Right, but some people do, right? So I remember there was a
You're gonna be okay.
I think there was an episode where she couldn't say like helicopter or something. Right, and it was just like she named it like chuka 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 chuka, some shit like that. Right, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
what the fuck? This is like a fucking helicopter.
Wow.
Right. And I think we've gotten to a point, and I was reading something. I can't remember where it was on. Well, no, actually, I was listening to it. I think it was on YouTube, where the girl was talking about we're bad at. We've gotten to a point where TV shows are more diverse in who they're showing. Like there's more black people, there are more Asian people on TV now. But there's still a problem in the fact that the writers haven't gotten more diverse.
Right.
Right. So you get some of these shows that, yeah, they're showing a lot of black people, but they don't know how to write them.
Are you Zlatko?
You can't really come in and be like, oh, and I don't want to be Like I don't want it to be like gatekeeping, you know, where it's like, oh, you're a white writer, so you can't write black people. I don't think that's the case. But I do think that there's some nuances to being black that you may not understand and may not get unless you've lived it. You know, it's the same thing that I feel. Damn, man, this is going to get maybe really controversial depending on who listens to it.
Come on in. Don't be shy.
Where, you know, you get that whole. Have you ever seen on Father's Day, right? How you'll have some ladies, some single parents, some single mothers, be like, well, I'm their father too. You know, I'm both the mother and the father. I'm like, well, yeah, you're the mother. You're all they have, and that's great. But
no, you're two parents in one, but you can never be the dad.
Right. There's certain things you could never show, like, especially you have a son. You could never show your son how to be a man. You can tell your son what you would expect out of a man, but you can't show him how to be a man. Even that's flawed because it's their interpretation of what they feel a man should be, and that could be, and that's how you get somebody. And this might be controversial too, but that's how you get some of these men that sometimes you come in contact with them as another man, be like, "Who the fuck raised you? Like that's not honor rule. That's not man code. You're not following any of that stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, yo, what's really going on?"
And then even still, like, even if you were raised by both parents, a lot of the behaviors you'll see in public is still subjective. I mean, you really can't. Some women do a great job at raising men, right? But then other times, no. And then sometimes people were only raised by their dad, and they're still pieces of shit men.
Yeah,
you know,
that's very true.
So that is, but I get what you're saying. No, it's just very, very subjective. But for the most part, I agree with you.
Great place for a fresh start.
But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I really didn't have that, and see, I'm not used to having someone.
I can help you.
You know what? No, I'm not even gonna say that because then.
So you want so basically you about to try to take a shot at me, even though we're having a good conversation. Yeah. That's how this is gonna go.
Yeah, it was, man. I gotta calm down the assholeness.
Jeez. You gotta think about it. Me and you aren't playing the video game right now. So
yeah, I know. So we
different.
can actually have the conversation. Yeah,
exactly. Instead of yelling at each other.
40Handz, man. We used to like when we first started, right? We used to have some of the best conversations before hitting record. And then the moment that you hit record, it's like, the fuck, you know, we're trying to play games, right?
Because I get into that. Let me figure this shit out, or
yeah.
And that's probably one of the, and I'm pretty sure 40 that's one of the reasons why you probably don't do the audio with the gameplay too. Because sometimes you get in that mode where you just like, all right, you're in the zone, you're doing this, you're doing that, your mind is going a million places at once. How could I possibly try to, I guess we'll practice talking points and stuff like that and engaging with the chat if people are there, but that it gets tricky. For me, it gets tricky.
Yeah, it's weird, and like I said, I don't really want to muddle up the audio. I mean, I've toyed around with the idea of recording stuff beforehand and then just dubbing over top of it, but then that would still kind of muddle up the audio of the game as well. That, and I don't have a computer, so there's that.
We're going to work on that, man.
Yeah, I'll eventually put something together. Like I said, I have my work computer, but I don't like using it as a Mac.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Apple. But we'll see.
Yeah, I hate.
Speaking of Apple, so Apple rejected a iOS version of the Steam Link app.
Yeah, I saw
I heard that. It's out on Android.
Yeah. Why do you think Apple's trying to still trying to get into gaming? Like
and
gaming
I think they were saying that it had something to do with their business model or some shit like that. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick.
But it's crazy though, because the PS4 remote app program, you can put that on iOS. I mean, not iOS, on the OS, their OS. Yeah, for their
the
MacBooks
Apple
and
Play Store.
Mac Pros.
So hard to find them.
Hold on, let's see. Apple, what was that? Apple rejects Steam.
What? You said that.
Yeah, people believe what they want.
Valve Steam Link games over business. What is this? Business conflicts. Yeah.
They'll come to me expecting me to help them.
But they approved it
It's
at one
the
point in time.
app guidelines, I guess it was. It doesn't say exactly what it says. It's not exactly clear at this moment what business conflicts is. And I'm getting this from The Verge, written by Nick Stat on May 24th. Go definitely check that out, theverge.com, to get the full story.
Deviant that wants to be a mother.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking that Apple may want to come out with their own.
Well, they have AirPlay. I mean,
Yeah, well, they have the iTunes store, which they want that to be everything, and it never will be.
Yeah.
I think the main problem is that Apple just has never really been great with gaming at all on any of its platforms. Like, if you think about it, the whole reason that Halo's even a thing is because Apple botched up Marathon so bad that Bungie's like, you know what? We'll just do something with Microsoft. We're done here.
Believe me,
yeah,
Yeah,
you're better off being
Yeah.
raised in
that's the whole reason we got, Halo back in the day. And that's not to say that Marathon's a bad game. Marathon was great, but
Was it?
almost envy you.
it was adequate for what you were able to play on Apple computers back in the day. It was like you're gonna play Marathon or Willie Beamish, and you'd be happy.
So Marathon was, for those that don't know, it was a Quake-like game. First-person
Yeah, it was
shooter.
like a first-person shooter. Yeah.
Deathmatch. Okay, open stages, progression. Okay. And it looks like it used like a mix between Quake and, well, I guess Quake and Doom, basically.
Yeah. And a lot of the imagery was pretty futuristic. A lot of the imagery actually reminds me a lot of the first Halo game, as far as like the stuff that you see when the humans are just kind of by themselves, or human structures.
Okay, yeah, then shoot. I see. Yeah, I was never really either. When I was young, I didn't have a computer. Didn't really have. Well, yeah, I didn't get a computer until I was probably in high school. Yeah, okay, in high school, so 14, which was probably one of the worst things my parents could have done. All that access to free porn, man, I never went out. So, but I didn't get it. Wasn't really into PC gaming and stuff like that. It was just all porn all the time, basically. But and just getting onto game facts and stuff, and grabbing. I was a huge Final Fantasy fan. So and I would always try to 100% Final Fantasy. So I was always on game facts, getting like walkthroughs and shit like that. This is back before, you get YouTube videos of walkthroughs and stuff. I remember I used to print out the fucking walkthroughs.
Yeah, I did that a couple of times before too. Hell yeah. Cheat CC, what else? It was another one. But yeah, I remember that shit. And I didn't have a memory card, so I had to print some of them things off of the codes and stuff like that because they never stayed saved.
Right.
For a while, I didn't have a memory card for the PS1 or 2. But, my parents was kind of like, well, that's something extra. You're able to play the game and this, and that. I'm like, yo, but I needed to save. And they didn't understand the concept of saving the game. I'm like, saving progression. And I think like one Christmas, I got that along with some other shit. Or by that time, the PlayStation 2 was like, well, it was both systems. It was near its ending. Like the PlayStation 2 was coming out when I got the memory card for the PlayStation 1, and vice versa. I'm like, this is bullshit. Oh man, it's horrible. The dark times.
The dark times, man. Dark times was Nintendo had buying this game. Can't fucking play it, man. Fuck it. Whatever. Having a blowing on it, like, man, cartridge not working. Having to put the cartridge in, and then you have to.
Go ahead.
I was saying, you buy the cartridge for the Nintendo, you put it in, then you had to kind of slide it over to the side to see if it could connect. Man, it was nothing like putting in getting ready to play the NES. Going and putting the cartridge in, and it's just not reading. And you're just doing everything you can to get it to read. Like, oh yeah, you got to blow on it. And then come to find out that was probably the worst thing you could have done to it.
Yeah.
Later on, years later, it's like my shit just doesn't work. Everything's oxidized.
Right. like why? Like why is it doing it? Like, man, yeah.
Oh man, now my Nintendo horror story is buying Perfect Dark. It's like a 14-year-old and not realizing that you needed so Nintendo 64 had that expansion slot for like an additional memory upgrade, I guess. And I didn't have that, so you couldn't even play the full version of Perfect Dark unless you had that. You couldn't play through. You couldn't play through the story or any of that. It was like you could only play like 2-player multiplayer or some bullshit like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I never realized that, and so by the time I ended up getting one of those things, I think I ended up getting it with it might have been like Rogue Squadron 64. One of the, for what it's worth, Super Nintendo, or the only time Nintendo ever did anything for me, is when they put out some pretty good fucking Star Wars content. But yeah, so Rogue Squadron 64, I believe it was, came with that expansion piece there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking back.
I still haven't played Perfect Dark all the way through.
Yeah, I never played. I know of the game. I just never. So I wasn't into. That was a first-person shooter, right? I wasn't into first-person shooters back then. It was really just. I'm trying to go back and look through, because I had the PlayStation, but I didn't get into PlayStation until later on, because I had the Nintendo 64. And then I got the Dreamcast. I had the Dreamcast, and probably not even probably, it is my favorite game series of all time, Shenmue. So I just played hours and hours of Shenmue.
Yes.
Yeah, so it wasn't until I think I did have a PlayStation, but I didn't really play too much on it. And then I got the PlayStation 2 after that, after it crushed the Dreamcast, basically. But
Gotcha.
It was really just I'm a huge RPG fan. I have so many RPGs on my in my game catalog that I just start and never finish. Matter of fact, I was looking through my I look at my trophies and stuff every once in a while. And what's funny is there's only 2 people on my friends list that have more trophies than me. That's you and one other person. Not you, Wes. No, not you. FourtyHandz and one other person.
I didn't think it was me.
Yeah, but I looked through it and I was like, man, most of my games, going back to the PS3, it's like 13% trophies done. Like, where I would just pick up a game, start playing it, and then another game would come out and be like, oh yeah, I gotta get that game, and just never go back to playing the other games.
See, that type of behavior is infectious and it's contagious, because that's how he tries to treat our gameplay. Let's just pick this up and then we don't play it. Or let's just pick this up. We just finished Origami just because I was like, yo, I need to get my money's worth from this fucking game. Even though it was like $20. Even though it was like $20, I'm like, no, we need to finish this shit.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Right?
Ain't that what happened?
No. So the reason why it took us 40 hands. The reason why it took us so long to finish Origami was the fact that we played it first. I told you about we had talked before about the.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, I didn't want to play. He somehow his data got corrupted.
Right, and he didn't want to start over.
I'm not fucking playing this shit over because he was so far. I was like, come on, man.
Right. We were only about what 4 or 5 chapters in.
Nah, I think we were 4 or 5 chapters away from completion. Because remember, the reason why it took so long the second go around was because I kept trying to like speed run through this shit. I'm like, I'm gonna just run through and there'll be a diversion, and you do what you need to do. Yeah, and that shit wasn't working half the time.
Well, no, I think we were quicker the second time through. We were a lot quicker the second time through, even with just running through. The first time, it took forever to get through some stuff.
Yes, Loco.
But
yeah,
either way, I don't appreciate you trying to blame me and being like that we were just switching games. We've only played
Dying Light.
Yeah, we played Dying Light. I started that over again. Like, you're too scared to play Dying Light, so that's why we put that.
No, it's not that I'm too scared.
It takes forever to get.
It takes forever to do stuff, and I'm like, God damn it, man! This fucking game. It's a good game. It's just, I be like, nah. We could be playing for like every day for a week, and I'll be like, where are we? Like, did we progress to anything?
Yeah, it wasn't good for recording.
It wasn't good for the stream. Yeah.
No, I think it was good for the stream, like, because you can talk, and just use it as a background for a conversation when it comes to the stream. But when it comes to recording and posting the stuff like on YouTube, I think that you have to.
That's good for.
You have to have action,
Yeah. That's good for mini clips, and that's what I used it for. Yeah, for our social media and stuff like that. So, but yeah, man.
So, 40hands, she doesn't remember who she is?
Well, at the very beginning of this section here, she went to go see this guy who's supposedly a robotics expert, and then she shows up, and you find out that like he's pretty much harvesting androids for parts. So he immediately wiped her memory, and there was a whole thing trying to get out of this machine that was doing that, but I failed. So she has no memory right now. She kind of remembers stuff because she's a deviant. So right now, she's pretty much just trying to remember who she is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I saw part of your stream yesterday when you first started, and it just seemed like you were running around in a circle at one point.
Yeah, there's a period after she does what she does to escape her human. She takes off with the little girl that's being abused, and they have nowhere to go. So it's pretty much me running around trying to figure out, one, how to keep this girl warm and fed, and then where would we even go? They kind of tell you, but there was a lot of weirdness going on. Like I went to go run into an abandoned building, for example, and there was like a deviant robot there. So like I turn around for 1 second, and the freaking I turned around for 1 second, and this deviant robot had like pulled a knife on the little girl. So like I had to talk about, yeah. So like it was. I'm trying to remember. I was like, yo, man, this is such a wild thing. So I did that, and so I didn't want to stay inside of that abandoned house. So then I had to like find a hotel, and then that had one of the things I like about this game is whatever you choose to do, there's consequences to your actions. So I didn't stay in that abandoned house. I ended up staying in this hotel, and because I stayed in this hotel, the cops knew where I was the next day. Yeah, so like they just showed up, and so like they had to run again, and that's how they ended up actually at this crazy guy's house.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, so it's messed up, man. Like, but it's good though because it gives you replayability. So like, if you want to play, if you want to play a character like a dick, you can. It gives you the option. And you just want to be a tool bag to humans and androids alike, have at it, man.
Right.
No one's gonna stop you.
Good. When you play games, man, do you play it for especially now, like, do you play for trophies or are you just playing just to play?
It depends what it is. If I'm having a lot of fun with a game, I'll keep it longer and then I'll try to get the extra trophies. But like most of the time, I don't, as I get older, I don't really have as much time as I did when I was in my 20s. To play games all the time, so I'll just play it through and just kind of get rid of it. For example, God of War is a good game, but I didn't want to keep it, so I ended up just taking it back. And but I beat it, had my fun with it, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with it. Unless they're gonna do DLC or something in the future, I might pick it back up again, but I doubt it.
The new God of
because
War.
Right, yeah, the newest one that just came out.
So
like
you picked it up and you've beaten it already.
Yeah, I beat it within like the first week.
Mm.
Yeah, but I was working from home. To be fair, yeah, it wasn't like I was. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm just gonna skip work and ignore the rest of my life and just play through it. And I was like, I just happened to be working from home and it wasn't busy, and I played through it.
Right.
That's not any better, but
yeah, no. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just surprised. Just thinking about how quickly you got through the game and stuff like that.
He's working from home. Don't do that. He's working from home.
Like how many hours do you think it took you to beat the game?
Oh my goodness.
Over the course of that week, like maybe 20. So like maybe 5 hours here, 6 hours there, 4 hours there.
Right.
You know how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm right on pace.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, it's not a long game. Like the narrative in that game is not long at all.
Finished here.
But there's a lot of stuff to do, and so with that being said, the lot of stuff to do portion is only for trophies. Like there's no story that you really get from doing all the extra stuff there.
Right. All right.
Yeah, right now I'm I did stream that a little earlier on the channel. I forgot where I was at already. I'm in Tears Vault. So yeah, just got Atreus back from being sick. Let me not spoil anything. But anywho, so just got Atreus back from being sick or whatever have you. So I'm in this vault and I took a break because I'm like, all right, we're about to start this and stuff like that. But the only thing that gets me about that game is the camera. Sometimes I understand the camera's like an over the shoulder type thing, but I can't see most of anything when I'm playing that game, or when enemies come out and stuff like that. Even though the markers are around his midsection, sometimes I will parry and the other way and still get hit. So It's kind of weird.
Have you fought any of the Valkyries on that game?
Nope, I know that's coming soon. I was talking to another friend of mine, and he's stuck there. He's stuck fighting a Valkyrie. So, have not. I've heard it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, like I fought maybe 2 or 3 of them during the course of me playing that game. It wasn't fun. It was just because they would be doing random stuff, and I'm like, dog. So like, a lot of it, the reason it took so long is just pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Like everything on that game has a pattern, and then once you figure it out, you're pretty much good to go there.
Right.
But I do want to see where they go, because there's definitely going to be a sequel, just the way that it ends.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff there to be farmed. They could, in theory, make a completely another game out of that series if they wanted to.
Right.
So it's pretty.
And that's what I kind of thought would. That's what I'm kind of thinking now. After I visited the vault, and what was seen in the vault and stuff like that, and how Tyr actually visited different lands. So I'm like, yo, so with some good writing, this could be the last that we see of Kratos.
Yeah.
And they could probably pick back up maybe 3-4 more games later, and then Kratos reappears for something else. It could very well be something like that. Or, going to different, pantheons and stuff like that. Just wrecking everybody. But I don't know. I'm excited. I know we can probably get like at least 7 games, at least 10 games if they're consistent with it, because they can always do the time frame from between Adrian's birth and him leaving, I guess, Greece and traveling. Because this could be the last game. Well, I don't know, but this, maybe the next game could be the last game, and then how they did in the PS3 era and the PSP, everything else be prequels. I would like to see that.
Yeah.
So.
But, I mean, there's a lot. I'm not going to leave anything up to the developers because there's a lot that they'll introduce and not do anything with. So.
Oh yeah, all the time.
You remember when the first God of War originally came out on PS2?
Mm-hmm.
Did you play through it?
I did.
So at the very end of that game, there's a cutscene where it's like a flash forward.
Yeah.
And it takes place in modern times, right?
Yeah.
But they never did anything with that. And I'm like, I would love to play a God of War game that takes place in the modern era, but we'll never get that. It's, the series just kind of became something completely different.
Did you find them?
Yeah, but you never know. We might get something like that, and it might be a mix of like Assassin's Creed and that type of shit. Like going to the future, and maybe the blades as a gun. Who knows? But that I don't think they'd ever get into anything like that, because I don't think anybody will buy it. They'll be so fixated on how things used to be and how it should play and stuff like that. I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, and I mean, that's another series that I'm kind of like, I'm not done with it, but I'm not happy with it.
Really?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, like, the way that they kind of keep doing them all the time, and they're not necessarily that much different.
Yeah,
I would rather they take their time with it and really give me something that's completely different.
Yeah. So that guy, that's chasing them. That's an android, or is that a?
Yeah. So the non-deviant androids, well, actually, mostly all androids, they have that little circle. It's like their processor on their right temple.
I warned you.
I just kind of looked at the screen and saw that.
You should have listened to me.
Huh.
What are you doing?
Got the shoddy.
Get out of
He's
my.
gone deviant.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, see his processor's like kind of fluctuating colors.
Right through you. How dare you?
That was easy.
Yeah. And his house of horrors from all the androids that he's been kind of picking off of.
Get away from me! Get away from me! Obey me! I'm your master!
Turn your head away. You already know what's about to happen.
So this reminds me of a Simpsons episode where you find out that Homer at one point built the robot and never finished it, and he came across it again, and the robot was complaining that he didn't have legs. It's such a weird thing that this whole scene just reminded me of that.
Oh man, that reminded me of that reminded me of a Simpsons episode too, but it was when
Risk your life to save you.
it was one of the early episodes when I think they were going somewhere, and this when Maggie was at a daycare for the first time. She had to get the pacifiers out of the I forget what that episode was, but it just reminded me when Homer stepped in the into the daycare and everybody had their pacifiers, and he was kind of tiptoeing around all the babies and picked up his and backed out slowly.
Yeah.
For some reason, that just reminded me of that. Oh man.
All right.
Man.
I trust
So, you all have been getting these updated. Like,
for everything.
everything.
Yes, man. For every fucking thing that I have, I've had like it's like 60 already for me. Damn near 60. I'm not bullshitting you. What is that about?
So,
is it because of this FCC stuff, or I haven't read any of it?
If I'm understanding it correctly, hold on real quick. What's that coming up? How much longer do we have on this share play?
Not much longer. It only lets you do an hour at a time. So I'm just actually gonna end it here.
So you wanna take a break for a second and then start the share play over, or did you want to go ahead and just end it all together for today?
No, I just want to end it for today because I can't hear everything going on in the background, so I'm gonna have to figure out a better way of getting my audio situation good to go, at least for the game. Like maybe pipe audio for the game through one headset, or I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out.
Okay. 40Handz is like, man, I don't like this. I don't like this. I need to hear my gameplay. All right, so we'll end it. But real quick, Wes, it has to do with the GDPR, which is the European like privacy stuff. And next time we'll get into how Facebook and Google were just hit with a $8.8 billion lawsuit on the first day because of their privacy stuff.
Yeah, that's not a joke. Outside of games, I work in the email industry. And we do a lot of business specifically in Europe, as do a lot of corporations. And the right to be forgotten over there that comes along with GDPR legislation is legit, meaning you as a consumer have the right to tell a company, don't contact me anymore, forget my email address, forget my telephone number, and if they contact you, they will get fined. So that's essentially what happened with Facebook there.
Right. Yeah, and it's an interesting situation, but maybe we'll pick that up next time once 40Handz figures out his setup and how he wants to hear everything. What I do normally is I have both the chat and the gameplay coming through the controller, and I just use two over the ear headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just the regular earbuds. Set up my over the ear headset and just pipe everything in and bump the volume. Well,
that's what I have now. I think I just have a shitty headset. I have these big cans on right now, so I can hear you guys fine. But like the audio for the game, like towards the end, it got better. But it was like really low at the beginning. It was fluctuating between a really high and a really low volume setting there, and I didn't want to stop the stream to like figure it out because that diverts to like a weird PlayStation screen there in the background.
Yeah.
So
you may want to try. I guess we can speak on this off stream. So we'll go ahead and end it for us, Wes.
Oh, okay. Whoever's listening and or watching, thanks for tuning in. Hope to bring you back some more. I don't want to call this content, but it is content. But some more conversation later on, and continue to check us out. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining us, 40Handz.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Peace.